Hey, Class 10, let's talk about democracy. We hear all the time that it's the best system, right? But what does it actually do? What are the real-world results? Well, today, we're going to put it to the test. Think of this as a full-on performance review to see if democracy really lives up to all the hype. In helping us run this whole analysis is A1 Institute. They're all about helping you dig deep into these big topics and to absolutely crush it in Class 10.
So before we put democracy on the stand, if you're ready to get to the bottom of this, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons for the A1 Institute channel. It's a huge help and lets us know you want more explainers just like this one.
Okay, let's get into it. We're going to plug democracy into our diagnostic machine and see what the readouts say. We're not just looking at textbook theories here. We want to know, how does it actually perform under real-world pressure? What are its true outcomes? Let's find out.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll put democracy on trial. Then we'll see how it deals with social differences, a huge challenge. After that, we'll check how it scores on protecting your dignity and freedom. Then we'll explore why democracy is like a never-ending test. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a quick exam-ready summary.
All right, Section 1, democracy on trial. You know, a lot of people expect that choosing democracy will automatically lead to great economic development. But here's a surprise. If you look at the data from the past 50 years or so, dictatorships actually have a slightly better record when it comes to pure economic growth. Whoa. But that doesn't mean we should just toss democracy aside, because while it might not always be the fastest engine for growth, it has other massive advantages. Things like being a legitimate government that's actually accountable to its people. So yeah, on pure economics, the results are kind of mixed, but on things like accountability, democracy is the clear winner. Okay, on to our next big test, dealing with social differences. Any country is going to have a ton of diversity, right? Different languages, religions, cultures, you name it. This is one of the toughest challenges for any government. So, can democracy handle that conflict and build a society where everyone feels included?
So how does democracy tackle this?
Well, think of the authoritarian way as trying to just smash everything flat, ignore differences, or crush them completely. It's all about suppression. Democracy, on the other hand, is more like putting together a giant, complex puzzle. It develops ways for people to negotiate and compromise. The goal isn't to force every piece to be the same shape, but to find a way for all the different pieces to fit together and create one harmonious picture. Now, listen up, because this is a super important point, especially for your exams. When we say rule by majority in a democracy, it does not mean that one group, say a religious or linguistic group, gets to boss everyone else around forever. It's not a permanent win. Instead, a democratic majority is, well, it's flexible. For any given decision, different people and groups can come together to form a majority. And, this is key, that majority always has to work with and consider the minority. It's a constant dance of negotiation, not a dictatorship. So democracy is pretty good at managing different groups, but what about you, the individual? That brings us to our next diagnostic, dignity and citizen freedom. This really gets to the heart of it all. Does democracy actually respect you as a person? This quote just nails it. The thing that makes democracy so special isn't just about casting a vote every few years. It's built on something much deeper, a fundamental belief in respect and freedom. That passion is literally the fuel that keeps a democratic society running. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, democracy provides the legal tools, that solid foundation that allows people to fight for their rights. It recognizes everyone as equal before the law. For women trying to challenge patriarchal systems, it gives them a legal basis to stand on. For disadvantaged groups fighting for equal opportunities, it strengthens their claims. Now, the system is far from perfect, but it gives people the power and the tools to demand a more just society. Okay, time for our final test, and this one reveals something kind of strange about democracy. What if I told you that hearing people complain all the time is actually a good thing? I know, it sounds a little crazy, but let's get into why this never-ending test is actually a sign of success. Here's the deal with democracy. The exam is never, ever over. The finish line just keeps moving. As soon as a democracy gets better at one thing, its citizens see what's possible, and they start demanding more. They raise the bar. It's this incredible cycle of rising expectations that keeps pushing the whole system to improve itself. And this quote just sums it all up. When people are out there complaining about the government or demanding more, that isn't a sign of failure. It's proof of success. It means they've gone from being passive subjects who just accept their fate to being active citizens who believe their voice actually matters. They feel empowered enough to speak up and hold their leaders accountable. And hey, You don't have to take my word for it. Just look at this data from South Asia. Even with all the challenges, a huge majority of people in countries like India, Nepal, and Pakistan believe their vote makes a real difference. That's why they participate. They have faith that they have the power to create change. That's pretty amazing.
All right, the diagnostics are complete. Let's pull up the final report and go over the key takeaways that you'll absolutely want to have locked in for your exams. So here it is, your final report in 3 simple points. Number 1, democracy is built to handle diversity through negotiation, not suppression. 2, its foundation is the principle of individual dignity and freedom for every single citizen. And 3, it's a self-improving system where complaints and high expectations are actually the engine for progress. Remember these 3 points, and you are going to be golden for your exams. We've covered some really important ground today, but honestly, this is just scratching the surface of this chapter. To really nail this topic and be fully prepared, you should definitely check out the complete set of resources from A1 Institute.
And if you're looking for that extra edge, like personalized guidance, super detailed notes, or even help with admissions, you've got to get in touch with A1 Institute. Their phone number and all their contact info is right there in the description below. Thanks so much for running these diagnostics with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.